What's up, True Crime World? You're here with Luminol on the Wall. I'm Becky.
And I'm Bevy. And today's case is about a mother who frantically calls 911 on November 6, 2019, claiming her daughter has disappeared. This is the case of Taylor Williams. Listener's discretion is advised.
Well, hello there to all our true crime friends and family.
Hey guys.
And hey, Bev.
Hi sister.
How's it going?
Super. I heard my baby's heartbeat today.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah, it was cute.
I didn't get to hear it.
No.
I'm not invited to these appointments.
That's right. I think they only allow one person. It's usually the spouse. So, you know.
Yeah.
Too bad.
Craig trumps that. Yeah.
Craig does trump you on that one. But yeah.
It's just a hard truth I'm going to have to live with.
Oh my goodness. Yes. You will have to live with it.
Forever.
Mm-hmm.
Damn. That's okay. But yay, your baby's heartbeat.
Yeah, it was cute. We've seen it before. Craig was sure we heard it before. But I only remember hearing mine. So anyways, it was adorable. It was at 158 if anyone wants to know. So yeah.
Is that high or good for a baby?
I think in the normal range is anywhere from 110 to 160, she said. But like when my baby was really small, it was 168 and that was normal too.
All right.
So it's all good. And kind of interesting, my gynecologist, wait. My OBGYN, every fucking time. God. Anyways, my OBGYN had told me that she doesn't want me to be so strict on like the food rules that are out there for pregnancy. Like eating sushi, raw sushi. Or like processed meat.
Oh.
Yeah.
Can have it all?
Well, in like moderation,
which
is kind of interesting, right? I feel like everyone's so strict, but she said largely like in Canada and the United States, like our food is decently regulated and yeah, like not as much to worry about. But she definitely wasn't like, yeah, eat it whenever you want, just go ham. But it was like, you don't have to have like a hard rule. You're not allowed it at all. Like you can have it occasionally, you know, and not feel like if you like feel like you're a sandwich one day, like go for it.
Well, this is very good news for you because you, Bevy,
love sushi.
Are a salmon lover.
I love salmon.
I mean, who doesn't? Lots of people.
Lots of people. Yeah. Who doesn't? Who should love salmon?
Everyone.
Everyone. Easy answer. Don't even have to think about it. But yeah, I went for sushi on Friday.
Oh.
But we didn't get salmon. We didn't get anything that had high mercury. Like we did our research. Basically shrimp. Like you can have shrimp.
Wow.
And I will tell you, it was a different experience going to sushi. Slightly less enjoyable. So I'm pretty thrilled to hear that, like,
you can
that
have
doesn't
salmon.
have to be my experience every time.
Totally, because you know what? I don't hate shrimp, but
There's something at least salmon sushi.
Oh, so good. Shrimp is at least 50% worse than salmon.
Oh, 100%.
But I like both,
no doubt.
so you know.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. That's how I feel. So, I mean, I'm not going to say that everyone should do that as a hard rule, just so you know. I am not speaking into your lives about your choices in pregnancy or anything like that. All I'm saying is my OBGYN said this to me. That's it. Okay?
That's it.
And I'm not even 100% sure I will allow myself to indulge once in a while out of nerves. But either way, I just thought that was interesting. But it is not medical advice. Please do not think I'm saying that.
Yes.
Anyways. Sushi talk aside and pregnancy talk aside, Becky, shall we get into the case for today?
Yes. Yes,
All right.
we shall, Bev.
Let's do it. So around 7 a.m. on November 6th of 2019, Brianna Williams, a Navy petty officer and single mother, called 911 in a panic. Her 5-year-old daughter, Taylor Rose Williams, was missing from their home in Jacksonville, Florida. Brianna told the dispatcher after she had woken up, she went to check on Taylor in her bedroom, only to find her bed completely empty. Now, not too long after the 911 call, police arrived at Brianna's home on Ivy Street. They found her visibly distraught. She explained that she lived alone with her daughter, Taylor, and there had been no unusual events, no arguments, and no outstanding custody issues. Taylor's father, Maurice Tate, lived in Alabama and had limited recent involvement in their lives. Brianna also gave officers her mother, Cassandra Williams' name and phone number, as Taylor did spend a lot of time with her. Brianna told officers she had signed her lease in July, but due to delays, she and Taylor hadn't moved into the Ivy Street home until November 3rd, so just a few days before Taylor went missing. And while one of the officers was speaking to Brianna, other officers began searching the residence to make sure Taylor wasn't there, but also they wanted to find clues that could help them in her disappearance case. And as police began investigating the home, they noticed Brianna seemed unusually focused on her phone, making it challenging to speak with her and get information. Yet with a child missing, obviously the search is supposed to be immediate and thorough.
Yeah, I couldn't be oh my God. I couldn't imagine being a mother and just being like, you know what? I'm going to check Instagram or Facebook. I'm just going to see what's on my phone.
What could be more important?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, my daughter's missing. I was distraught, and now I'm just into my phone. No, Brianna.
No, it is odd.
Irritating.
Obviously, the officers need more information.
But maybe she's using, distraction techniques so she doesn't have a complete meltdown. Maybe I'm jumping to conclusions. But I just don't see how any mother could do in this time.
Yeah, it does seem rather odd to have your phone out. I don't think I would be looking at my phone unless you were calling someone to kind of talk to them about what was happening.
Yeah, or Mom, my daughter with you? No? Okay, bye.
Maybe you had a little tag on your daughter's backpack and were seeing if it moved, You know how they have those
GPS?
Yeah, maybe you had something on there and you were seeing if it was moving.
It's possible.
Either way, obviously the officers are a little bit annoyed by this situation, because they need to get as much information as quickly as possible. So we'll put that to the side for now. And meanwhile, all of this is happening. Officers have swept through the house, but what they found in their search raised more questions than provided answers.
Do you love true crime and travel? Having traveled the world solo the last couple of years and being obsessed with true crime, I found myself researching others who took the same vacations but never made it home. The Last Trip is a true crime podcast covering missing and murdered people that were living their best lives on vacation. I'm your host, Jamie Bevy, and each week I'll bring you on The Last Trip, taking a deep dive into vacation culture and travel spots, tips on staying alive while traveling, and ultimately recreating someone's last days in paradise. What led to their last trip? What are the hard facts? What is the final outcome? And could you be next? David Snedden was a 24-year-old college student from Utah attending Mandarin classes in Beijing when he mysteriously disappeared while hiking Tiger Leaping Gorge. Chinese authorities said he drowned in the gorge, and U.S. authorities agreed, although his body was never found and his parents didn't believe that. 7 years later, out of the blue, they got a phone call from a former U.S. official who had evidence David is still alive. This case sounds like a Hollywood movie, but evidence doesn't lie. So where is David Snedden? Famous rugby player and Celebrity X Factor contestant Levi Davis went missing in Barcelona last year while on a backpacking trip through Europe. Just days before he vanished, he posted a 15-minute video to his Instagram account saying his life was in danger and people were after him. After he disappeared, several theories emerged. But what really happened to Levi Davis? Join me, Jamie Bevy, co-host of the popular true crime series Strictly Stalking, as I embark on a brand new adventure combining true crime and travel. Listen to The Last Trip wherever you get your podcasts.
Hello, my name is Kristen Rigadel, and I'm a licensed insurance broker across Canada and in the United States. But I want to ask you a question. Is life super predictable? No, there's always going to be curveballs in life, but there's two things that I can guarantee you. One, we're all going to have to pay taxes, and two, we're all going to die. I know, it's morbid, right? But it's true. And that's where life insurance comes in. Life insurance is a selfless act. At the end of the day, it's meant for your loved ones in the event you were to pass away unexpectedly. And not that money can ever replace us, but I always liked the idea of leaving some money behind for my brothers, whether that be for their college education, or a down payment on a house, or even just time off of work to grieve. Because the last thing I would want for my family is to have to go to work and pay the bills while they're grieving. And so life insurance gives you the peace of mind that no matter when you pass away, your loved ones are taken care of. With flexible plans, affordable premiums, and coverage that fits your unique needs, I do the shopping around for you so that you can get the protection without the hassle. Because taking care of your future doesn't have to be complicated. If you'd like to discuss options, you can send me an email at krigadel15lrxc@wfgmail.ca or give me a phone call at 403-785-7670 to learn more and get a free quote today so you can live tomorrow with peace of mind.
They found 2 unsecured guns, a shotgun and a pistol, that were laid out in the open, along with a harness in the kitchen. In Taylor's room, they found a bed, a small pair of slippers by its side, and an open box of crackers. In the kitchen, Taylor's backpack and jacket were sitting near some opened air fresheners. Officers felt the home was oddly barren, even for someone who just moved in. There were hardly any household items, toys, family photos, or even unpacked boxes around. Not that this means anything, but something had just felt off about it to the officers. Additionally, one officer noted a rusty red stain on Taylor's headboard and a similar one on the bedroom door, although tests were negative for human blood. So they just wondered what this odd stain might be.
I mean, you never know.
Literally, they don't know.
You don't know.
Like, I don't know why. It's like this wouldn't be a rusty stain, but I used to, like, if I was chewing gum at night, I used to, like, take it out and stick it to my headboard.
Oh.
And I would leave it there for long periods of time. When I tried to get it off, it would leave, like, this tacky little bumpy, like, pinky, rusty colored stain.
Residue,
if you will.
just a little gum residue.
So, you know, it really could be anything.
You never know. Little Taylor could just be putting her gum on her headboard
And her door
at
frame.
night. Yeah.
So,
Door frame.
well, it was on there, right?
I know,
It was on
I know.
both places, you know, just like as she's like walking out of the bedroom or walking into the bedroom, it's like,
Bedtime.
for tomorrow.
Yeah.
Because I always thought I would eat it tomorrow.
And did you ever?
I think maybe once or twice, like maybe, which is pretty disgusting. Think of how disgusting kids are. We don't like think about that kind of stuff, or they don't think about that kind of stuff. They're not like, how disgusting is it to like
Eat day-old gum
eat Dale gum? But I was
and
also
stick it
thinking
to your
like,
headboard.
what do some of the kids in my class do? Like, it's like, what did some of them do? I don't know. It's like, I just don't know. Like, eat toilet water or something. It's like, that's kind of gross.
Do some of the kids at your school eat toilet water?
Well, like, no, it's just more so an example. But, like, you know what I mean? Like,
That level of grossness.
yeah, it's just
Yeah,
like they're
okay.
not, like, thinking of all the nasty germs that could be going into their body. They're more just exploring the environment. But as an adult, you're like, ew.
Ew, don't do that.
That's
There's
gross.
germs. So many germs.
Either way, I'm not saying that this is a yucky stain because Taylor was a child being, you know, not thinking about germs. But what I'm saying is that there's a wide range of possibilities for what the stain could be.
Truly could be anything.
So anyways, moving on.
Enough about stains.
Enough about stains. Oh, shit. Oh,
Speaking of stains, actually,
Speaking
that
of
we're still on
stains?
that because I
Oh,
can't let it
Lord.
go. When I worked at a car shop, when I was like in high school, got my first like real job outside of babysitting. Worked at a lube shop for cars, to be clarify. I believe my title was lube technician. Hi, I'm Becky.
you did work at Minute Lube.
Yeah, Minute Lube. And anyways, the guys there would call each other Stains. Be like, what's up, Stains? What's up, Stains? And it took me so long because I was so young and I'm really naive. Like, why is everyone calling these
Yeah,
guys
what is
Stains?
that?
Because it's like the short version of shit stain.
No way. I
Like-
was going to be like their outfits,
No.
overalls are like dirty with stains from the oil or something.
I mean, that's what I really thought was like logical about that.
But they just shortened shit stains.
Yeah,
And we're
just
calling
stain.
each other stains.
Stains. What's up, Stains? What's up, Stains? I remember I said it to one person. I was like, what's up, stains? And I was like, I feel so wrong saying that. I never used it again.
Trying to be in the cool
Yeah, I was like,
crowd.
that's not for me.
You know what's funny about that, though? As soon as you said stains, all I thought was shit stains. I'm not even kidding. That's why I laughed. 'Cause
Yeah.
I was like, why do I hear the word stains? And I just think of
Shit stains.
shit stains. I guess it's very like, it's like,
Universal? No, I'm just kidding.
yeah. Has everyone not experienced that? Like, I feel like everyone at one point in their life has experienced a shit stain. Sorry, guys, TMI, but correct me if I'm wrong. Are you the odd person to never have experienced a shit stain? And am I saying too much? Yeah, shut up, Bevy. Moving on.
You stop with your word diarrhea.
Yeah.
Your verbal diarrhea.
On topic. Nice.
Check.
Anyways.
Okay, Bev, get to the goddamn story.
I am trying. So, okay. Here. Yes, what the odd stain could be. So, after they have now completed the search of their home, police asked Brianna for a recent photo of Taylor and requested to check her car. When they opened the car doors, they found the interior cluttered with various items, including a pink unicorn, something of Taylor's clothing, adult women's athletic shoes with foliage encrusted in them, and a collection of cleaning supplies, yet the trunk was suspiciously empty, which was a stark contrast to the rest of the car, so it definitely stood out.
Mm-hmm. Most people hide
Stuff
their
in
mess
trunk. They
in
stow
their
it away
trunk.
in the trunk.
Yeah, that's usually not the clean portion.
Yeah, no, definitely. My
Yes.
trunk's a mess, but my car, clean.
Very clean, yes.
So, yeah, it's very weird. But here's the kicker, Becky. Police also noted a faint, unusual, but gross odor in the vehicle. And at this point, Brianna was brought down to the police station so detectives could get more information about Sweet Taylor's life and if there was anyone they should be looking into. While Brianna is at the station, police continue their investigation and taped off Ivy Street, initiating a citywide search for Taylor. They brought in the search dogs, helicopters, and police officers from multiple precincts to aid in their search. They also set out an Amber Alert for Taylor, but due to an error, it mistakenly listed Brianna's name as the missing child. Of course, this is a mistake that was quickly corrected, but kind of annoying, right? Especially when it's like an Amber Alert. Like, this is like, it's a stressful situation. It's like very urgent. Like, we need people to be on the lookout right now for this person.
With this name, who looks like this, blah, blah, blah. At least they realized it right away.
Yeah.
And could correct it.
Yeah. But silly mistakes.
Yeah.
So anyways, the police then began canvassing the neighborhood. Neighbors obviously expressed surprise at the news. Most said they hadn't even known Brianna had a child. Since moving in, they had not seen a little girl at her home at all, only Brianna. However, one neighbor mentioned noticing a suspicious man in his late 20s in the area, but didn't recall any specific connection to Brianna or Taylor.
Oh, isn't that interesting, though, Bev?
Yeah, that is.
That no one
Ever saw her and her child.
right? They would have seen her move in if they saw her.
Surely if they would see the mom, they must see the child at some point,
At least
right?
once.
Yeah, but none of them had.
Weird.
And in the meantime, police halted all garbage collection in the area, even going so far as to retrieve and sort through any garbage that had been picked up, hoping to find clues about Taylor's whereabouts. And I'll give them credit. They're really,
They're
doing
trying
the whole
hard.
9 yards.
Yeah.
And while at the police station, Brianna meets with detectives for the Missing Persons and Child Abduction Response Unit, who hope to uncover any further details about Taylor's disappearance. And once in the interrogation room, Brianna's demeanor was strangely calm. She even appeared to doze off while waiting for detectives. And when questioned, she told them that her alarm had gone off at 5:30 a.m., though she hadn't actually gotten up until closer to 6. She said she got dressed and expected Taylor to wake up, as she often did when she heard her mom moving around. However, Taylor stayed asleep. As Brianna recounts her actions that morning, she seems a little lost, pausing with frequent ums and ahs, as if struggling to recall details of her morning routine.
Which, by the way, when you say morning routine, I wouldn't think you'd have to think too much of it.
No.
Because it's a routine.
Yeah, it's something that happens every day. I know exactly what I do every single morning. You do?
Yeah.
Yeah, like it just comes to mind immediately.
Yeah. I actually watched a video of this part of the interrogation. Really, a lot of it. But this one, it was literally Bev like, I went into the kitchen, I got dressed. Like, she's scratching her head. Like, it seemed as though she was thinking so hard.
Like, she's like, I did not expect to have this answer thrown at me. Or
Yeah.
this question thrown at me.
Yeah.
And now I have to, like,
Come up with an answer.
which is weird. I mean, that obviously feels indicative of someone who is making up a story and or lying, right?
That is what the body experts say.
Interesting. So here's what she really does state about her morning routine. She claimed that after she got dressed and freshened up, she went into the kitchen where she noticed the back door was unlocked, which she said she found unusual. This prompted her to go check on Taylor around 7 a.m., at which point she realized her daughter was missing. And after discovering this, she described searching the house. She started with Taylor's closet. Then she checked her room, even checking under her bed, even looking through the kitchen cupboards before going outside to check in and around her car. And when she still couldn't find Taylor, she called 911. And when asked about the previous night, Brianna recounted putting Taylor to bed around midnight.
Late for a 5-year-old.
Late. She hadn't checked on her before going to sleep herself, though she mentioned being awoken later by a dragging sound that she assumed was coming from the roof. Disturbed by the sound, she'd grabbed her gun and searched the house, finding all doors locked at the time. When asked if she checked on Taylor after hearing the noise, she explained that she hadn't, as she didn't want to frighten her daughter with a gun. There were also metal bars on the window, which made Brianna feel secure that her daughter was safe. However, detectives found it strange that she wouldn't check on her daughter after a possible disturbance, which I obviously think is very odd as well. If I felt nervous enough to grab a gun because of the sound that was made in early morning hours, I think the first thing I would do would be to check on my child.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Right?
Like, oh no, she has metal bars. What if there is someone in your house and they're just chilling in that room? Be like, oh sweet, she didn't find me.
Yeah.
Was here taking your daughter.
Yeah. No, I think it's silly.
It's
That's
okay,
like,
Brianna, you idiot.
At the very least, it's negligent on Brianna's part. And that's at the very least. I think it's irresponsible and just downright wrong to not check on a 5-year-old after you hear something like they're helpless.
Yeah.
They need you to be their eyes, their ears, their protector.
Yeah.
So you need to jump into that role.
For sure. And like, what are you, like, this is what I imagine Brianna's thinking, like how she would have done it. Like, kick the door open, gun in hand, been like, oh, who's in there? Who's in there? You know, like waving around the gun. But
I
no,
don't
it's
want
like,
my daughter to be scared. Yeah.
You're like, okay, yeah, you don't have to bust in like you're doing a fucking raid.
Yeah.
Just like lightly open the door, have the gun on the other side of the wall so she couldn't see if she happened to wake up.
Yeah.
Just be like, okay, no one's in here and my daughter's there. Like, what's so hard about that?
Yeah, no, it's a silly excuse. And I feel like her story is just starting to sound like really sketchy at this point. And detectives feel the exact same way. How could they not? So they asked her what she thought hypothetically could have happened to her daughter. And Brianna claimed she had no idea what could have happened to Taylor, adding that her daughter wouldn't have left without her favorite stuffed bear named Mr. Bear, which she couldn't find at the house. As the questioning continued, detectives asked why Brianna had waited until November to move, considering she'd signed the lease in June. Brianna explained that her landlord had issues with break-ins and was working to fix the locks, which delayed their move. She also admitted that she'd struggled to remember to book movers until late October, but when she did, she got them just to move the big important stuff and thought she would get the rest of her things later.
Yeah, sure.
Which, to the detectives, this is odd. They thought, why not just move everything after paying for 2 homes for 5 months?
Yeah. Like, come on, Brianna. Is that something that people actually would do?
I think people have done that, and I don't think it's like by choice. It's like, do you know what I mean? It's like if I bought a house thinking my house would sell, and now I'm responsible for 2 mortgages. Like, I could see that. But simple, like, fixing of locks and things like that, I don't know. Like, I would be like, I don't want to sign this lease. It's not move-in ready. It is not a safe home. I need to change the lease on this because you have not prepared it adequately. Like, you would probably say something to that nature, right?
Yeah.
And just forgetting to book movers, I mean, I don't know. That's kind of silly.
I could see like a day, be like, oh shit, I forgot today. But like
months?
5 months? Like,
Yeah.
Oh, that sounds like you're ridiculous.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on,
No.
but it's a little bit odd right now. So the detectives then turned their attention to Taylor's education and childcare arrangements. Brianna claimed that Taylor had been attending kindergarten and daycare on base until May of that year. And since then, Taylor had spent a good amount of time in Tuscaloosa, Alabama with her grandmother, Cassandra. In fact, she was there most of the summer and October. However, Brianna seemed unsure of the exact timeline, but claimed Taylor had only just returned to Jacksonville to move into their new home. This all seemed weird, that Taylor had not been re-enrolled in school or had local childcare on or off the base set up for Taylor.
Mm-hmm.
So at this point, detectives leave Brianna alone to go and follow up with everything Brianna had told them. And what they learned was that the daycare and kindergarten on base said Taylor's last day was April 27th and was withdrawn from the programs after that. When they got in touch with Cassandra, the grandmother, she said she had not seen Taylor since January of that year. The young girl did not spend time at her home over the summer at all. And she told police that prior to being enrolled in daycare and kindergarten at the base, she would frequently take care of her granddaughter for weeks at a time. She also tells detectives that Brianna had called her on Halloween, and Brianna had asked her mother to cover for her with her commanding officer, saying if he happened to call Cassandra, she was to tell him that Brianna was picking up Taylor from Alabama, a request Cassandra had assumed was just an excuse for Brianna to skip work for a new boyfriend or something. Police then tracked down Brianna's boyfriend, who revealed he'd never actually met Taylor and had assumed she was with her father whenever he and Brianna spent time together. Meanwhile, Taylor's father, Maurice, said he hadn't seen his daughter since Brianna's grandmother's funeral months before, and he'd had difficulty contacting Brianna since then, as she often changed her number. Maurice said at the time he noticed his daughter looking very thin and was slightly concerned. Maurice also willingly provided a DNA sample and expressed his eagerness to help with the search for Taylor. They also checked in with the movers that helped Brianna move. And they said that Brianna hired them from Craigslist and said that Brianna was very insistent that she had to move the day they were hired. They said she had an urgency about it. They also noted that they never saw Taylor during the move. She wasn't at either of the residences. They also didn't see her in Brianna's car, and Brianna hadn't even mentioned her. Then detectives move on to reviewing Brianna's phone records, and they found that her phone pinged in Alabama on October 31st. This detail made detectives wonder if Cassandra was lying to them. Had she seen Brianna and Taylor on October 31st? To figure out the exact location, they had to wait for the GPS from Brianna's car to be analyzed. So we'll table that and come back to it. Brianna's texts with a friend also revealed her frustration with Taylor's behavior, describing her as a nightmare who'd begun stealing food and misbehaving. Maybe because she was fucking starving, Brianna.
Right?
Like, you bitch?
Yeah, most kids don't just steal food to steal food.
They're hungry.
They're hungry. And she's only 5.
That makes me sad. Okay. So, anyways, as investigators are following up with all of these people, the search has progressed to Brianna's previous apartment complex. Police started canvassing neighbors who similarly struggled to recall seeing Taylor in the recent months. One neighbor, Carlos Johnson, remembered finding Taylor wandering the complex unsupervised on multiple occasions looking for her mom. He described her as being oddly calm, saying she didn't even seem scared despite being alone. He would often also see Taylor waving at him from her apartment window when Brianna's car was gone. And Carlos assumed Brianna had left Taylor at home alone to fend for herself, which definitely makes sense considering Cassandra, Brianna's mother's statements of like, she looked after her for weeks at a time, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like if she wasn't there
Looking after her. Gone?
Yeah, exactly. Would you be staying at home alone when Brianna just goes MIA for weeks at a time, right?
Yep.
And inside Brianna's apartment, police found an unkempt and hoarder-like mess. The entryway and kitchen were piled with trash, and Taylor's clothes and toys were scattered throughout. There were many soiled with feces or damaged. Among the clutter, officers found Taylor's favorite toy, Mr. Bear. In addition, there were empty bleach and urine remover bottles all over the apartment and numerous air fresheners. The master bedroom was nearly impassable due to the trash, and the carpet was stained with human feces. As they entered the closet in the bedroom, it smelled. There was fecal matter all over the carpet and the walls and other concerning stains. Police discovered that baking soda had been dumped literally throughout the room and closet. This, they suspected, was an attempt to mask any unpleasant odors. Detectives decided to take samples from the carpet and walls to test for DNA. They also did an on-site test on the suspicious stains to see if they were human blood. It came back negative. While initial testing did not confirm blood, the use of luminol on the walls caused them to light up, indicating the likely presence of blood residue. Investigators then brought in a cadaver dog to further examine the stains, and upon entering the apartment, the dog became overwhelmed by various odors. So police removed the carpet from a closet area and brought it outside. Once in the open, the cadaver dog instantly and without hesitation detected the scent of human decay on the closet carpet. The dogs also hid inside Brianna's car. The dog alerted to specific areas: the driver's seat, the back seat, and the trunk. When investigators examined the trunk closely, they noticed a dried white film coating parts of the lining. They also found an air freshener and a nail tip lodged in the trunk lid. The air freshener matched those found at Brianna's new home on Ivy Street, and the entire vehicle reeked of cleaning solution, as we know. Underneath the car, investigators also found a reddish, dirt-like substance, which bore a striking resemblance to the dirt common to the backroads of Alabama. And I'm wondering if this is like the rusty stain on the door frame and the headboard, because, we talked about it being, potentially, we didn't discuss any particular thing causing these stains, but we noted that there could be various things. But I feel like we all thought, at that point that Taylor would have ever been in that room. And now that's seeming less likely. Mm-hmm. So, there's still a variety of things it could be, but now I'm thinking this could potentially be it, right?
It could be.
It could be. We'll see. But there's a bunch of clues that are coming up in this investigation where, like, the foliage on the shoes, and then the dirt-like substance common in Alabama's back roads, and then top it off with her GPS pinging in Alabama on October 31st. It kind of seems like maybe she was disposing of a body. That's what it seems like, at least. Kind of seems like a lot of evidence for them to go through, but, like,
it's all kind of pointing in one direction.
Yeah.
Well, Bob, I guess you'll just have to keep telling the story here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So police, as we know, have talked to some of Brianna's friends, and something else that they informed the police about was that Brianna was very close to her grandmother, who had passed away, and that she often visited her grandmother's grave near Linden, Alabama. So investigators began to suspect that this might be a significant location to search for Taylor. Because after all, they're probably thinking the same thing we're thinking, about Taylor or Brianna's little trip to Alabama. But in the meantime, obviously we know they have found a lot more evidence in her home and her car. And so they still need to go back and speak with Brianna for a second time.
Yeah, because they also need to figure out why is there such conflicting answers between the people, like what you're saying and like your mom.
Exactly.
Right? Like, let's figure that shit out.
Yeah.
Someone has to be lying.
Of course. Brianna. And when she was confronted with what her mother said, Brianna tells them that her mother was lying. And she just wasn't sure why. And in regards to the movers, she didn't want Taylor to interact with them. After all, they were movers from Craigslist. Well,
that's a valid point.
That's a valid point.
It's very valid. Craigslist, come on.
But she also said that they were lying about how urgent she was to move. And when the police pressed further, Brianna got super defensive and said she doesn't like the way she's being talked to and the implications being made, and ended up ending the interview. Now, it should be noted that in all of the time that Brianna was interviewed, which was over an 11-hour period, she did not once ask about her daughter or how the investigation was going.
No, she did not. I couldn't imagine not asking. That would be like my first question every time the detectives came back in the room, be like, have you found my daughter? What do you know? Can you tell me any information?
Yeah.
No, she's like, oh, I'm just like so fucking tired. I'm just going to take a nap while they're doing whatever.
Yeah, no, it's silly.
Just catch up on my Z's.
Don't like her for that.
No.
But, if you know what happened to your daughter, why would you ask at the same time, right? So she could be a complete asshole who just, like, isn't
more into herself and her sleep
and her phone. Or she knows what happened to Taylor. So, yeah, it could be one of the two. I don't know which one.
No.
So as the search for Taylor continues to progress, the Jacksonville Sheriff's Department, the FBI, the ABI, and NCIS joined the investigation. Detectives placed Brianna under 24-hour surveillance and tapped her calls between her and family members. Over the next couple of days, her conversations revealed irritation with the interruptions to her sleep and exasperation at repeated phone calls from investigators. On November 11th, just 5 days after Taylor's disappearance, Brianna was observed donating Taylor's belongings to a local charity. She donated clothes, stuffed animals, and toys, some even unopened. This is like shocking to everyone who's seen this. Why would she get rid of Taylor's things when everyone else is still searching, holding out for hope that Taylor will be returned home?
Yeah. Like, I know at some point maybe the realization sets in that after that first 24 and 48 hour period, there's a high chance that your child will not return home alive. And I understand that. But then on the opposite end of the spectrum, we see families that keep their children's room the exact same
for
years and years, just as a place to go back, right? So like, how can you justify 5 days after your daughter goes missing and you have presumably no idea what the hell's going on?
Yeah.
You're getting rid of her shit? Like she's never coming back?
Yeah.
The fuck, Brianna?
Yeah. No, it's like, it hurts my heart.
Totally.
But it's very clear that she was somehow involved in Taylor's disappearance because no mother would do that.
No.
I'm sorry, but no mother after 5 freaking days would do that. That would be emotionally challenging. Like, to even look at your daughter's belongings when she is nowhere, you don't know where the fuck she is. Like, that would be hard in and of itself. Just to like give them away. Like you said, like the finality of it is overwhelming for both you and I to even like comprehend. Like, why would you do that if you didn't know?
Yeah.
Like, you have to know, plain and simple. And also, like, are you dumb? Like, if you did have something to do with this, which I'm guessing you did, wouldn't you just wait?
Right?
Like, would you not realize that would, like, how that would come across to everyone? I mean, she probably doesn't know she's being surveillance, but still, like, wouldn't you be like
what if someone did see
cautious?
you, right?
Yeah. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Anyways, I feel bad that it's, like, I feel bad for Taylor to have a mom that clearly just, like,
is not invested in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To, like, say it in the nicest way possible.
Yeah.
It just makes me sad that a lot of kids out there, unfortunately, do belong to families or, you know, something like that, or have experienced that. It makes me very sad.
Oh, for sure.
Anyways. Around the same time that they're noticing Taylor or Brianna being a little witch, the police finally finished sorting through trash from the garbage truck, uncovering items that Brianna Williams herself had discarded. And among the trash were certificates from the naval base, notes from Taylor's daycare requesting a change of clothes and a toothbrush, and several of Taylor's art projects, including a card she had made for her mother thanking her for her service. A girl. I cannot handle this right now.
Man, yeah, you're tearing up. I know it's pretty rough just to see like her things just be disposable, and you sit here wondering, be like, my God, did Brianna just 100% her daughter was disposable?
Yes, exactly.
You know, like with all that stuff that, you know, I get it. Parents don't keep all their children's art projects.
No, I get that. That there's a lot.
Some
to
are silly,
keep, right? But like the note saying thank you for your service. That's like such a sweet thing for your daughter to write. I think that's what got me. It's just like, that's so sad.
Mm-hmm.
My goodness. Is it because I'm pregnant that this is hitting harder than normal? Or is it just like that sad?
I think it's just that sad.
Fuck me. That's so devastating, Becky. Okay, I'm gonna get through this.
You don't need a moment, do you?
I think I'm okay. I can move on. I can get ready to go because I feel like I know justice is going to be served. So by November 12th, very soon after all of this went down and Taylor was reported missing, police are now ready to arrest Brianna for child neglect, thank goodness, and providing false information to law enforcement officials. Her naval chief was instructed to pick her up from the base and bring her to the police station for booking. And while in the car, the chief informed Brianna she was considered a person of interest and asked her why, but before she could answer, she suddenly began vomiting. The chief offered her water and asked again why they thought her to be a person of interest, but Brianna continued vomiting and she became increasingly incoherent, mumbling before finally losing consciousness. Don't you dare fucking tell me. Don't you dare tell me that this woman is trying to take the cowardly way out by ending her life. Don't tell me that that is what's happening right now.
I will not tell you.
All right. So, obviously, the chief that is driving her is concerned. She's lost consciousness in the car. So, the chief decided to take her directly to the Naval Base's emergency department. And while en route, Brianna experienced a major seizure. Once they arrived, she was rushed into the hospital in critical condition, eventually slipping into a coma and was placed on life support. I am stunned into silence.
Yes, you are. We're just staring at each other right now.
Yeah, we're going to edit out the long, long silence that occurred, but
It's throwing you for a loop, isn't it?
I am just like, if you do something that's god awful and you make your daughter's life a living hell where she sleeps in her own fecal matter and like is underfed and neglected, and the consequences of your own actions are now creeping up on you, and you decide to end your life because you can't own up to those mistakes, I have a problem with that. I don't like that. It bothers me. It makes me sad. And I hope she fucking lives, okay? But on another note, while Brianna is hospitalized, the investigators obtain the GPS data from the car, which, thank goodness, the GPS revealed that she had traveled from Jacksonville, Florida to Linden, Alabama 3 times between October 31st and November 3rd. Each trip took over 7 hours one way, making it a 14.5-hour round trip. And surveillance footage confirmed that Brianna had stopped for gas and stopped at a car wash, backing up Cassandra's statement that Brianna had not been at her home in Tuscaloosa. And on Brianna's final trip to Alabama, the GPS showed an unusual stop along a dirt road, which was her veering off from her previous routes. And it was near the cemetery where her grandmother was buried. So detectives now had pinpointed an area in Alabama that they needed to search.
Right, because before the friends were like, hey, you might want to check there, look for Taylor. But it's like, oh, also Alabama's quite vast.
Yes.
We could search for days, months, and never find a thing, assuming she's there. And now they
have like an exact location. Right, so they decide to send cadaver dogs and units to see if they could find Taylor. And it didn't take long before they discovered a shallow grave. Inside, they found a garbage bag wrapped in a shower curtain. The bag contained a child's t-shirt with what they considered to be decomposition stains. And nearby, they located bone fragments, a clump of hair, and a human skull. Due to all the wildlife activity in the area, the remains were scattered, which prevented them from finding a full skeleton. So they only found about 10% of this person's remains. The t-shirt, bones, and hair were taken for DNA testing to confirm if these were in fact Taylor's remains. Meanwhile, back in Florida, Brianna was still in critical condition, and the doctors weren't sure what had caused her sudden illness. But after a search of her room at the naval base, they determined Brianna had ingested Arm & Hammer laundry detergent, believing this was her attempt at suicide. With this information, doctors adjusted her treatment, ultimately saving her life, and once released from the hospital, Brianna was brought directly to the police department.
I have to say, she probably felt like ass after going what she went through.
Yes.
And then they're like, I know you're alive. You're probably fully not recovered, but we're going straight to the police department.
Yeah, it's
you
a
psycho.
shitty existence.
Yeah, I'd be like, oh, I'm sorry, you don't feel well.
For a shitty person.
Yeah.
Like, I don't feel bad for her. But yeah, it must have been rough. I'm not going to lie. It would probably be rough if I was Brianna. Like, that would be tough.
For sure. It's like having to go to work really hungover. You're like, I hate every second of this.
Yeah.
But do I feel bad? No. I'm actually like, haha, just a little extra.
Yeah. Thank God you lived. Thank God you lived.
Yeah.
Obviously, when she's at the police department, she's questioned just one last time. But she declined to speak to anyone, so it didn't go very far. Kind of a one-sided conversation, if you will. However, even without questions being answered, she was still charged with the murder of her daughter, Taylor Williams, and her bond was set to $1 million.
I like it when they set those bonds really high.
Yeah, especially for murderers.
Yeah.
Like, we don't want you to be able to pay this at all.
Yeah.
Hopefully you have, like, a rich aunt somewhere, that would be willing to pay your $1 million bond, but doubtful.
Doubt it.
Maybe they do research before, like, do they have any rich family members?
What can they not afford?
Yeah. Oh,
that is your bail.
That's the bond right there.
Sucker.
Yeah. So ultimately, this case ends pretty devastating, but rather predictably. And on November 25th, the DNA results came back and confirmed that the results found in Alabama were indeed Taylor Williams, and the DNA found in the closet of her first apartment matched Taylor as well. Unfortunately, due to the effects of, elements and wildlife, the medical examiner could not determine Taylor's exact cause of death or pinpoint when she had died. However, they estimated her time of death to be between May and October, noting that her skeletonized state indicated she had been dead for at least 4 weeks. However, the remains that they did find did show evidence of neglect. Her tooth enamel suggested that Taylor had suffered from severe malnutrition. Now, because the medical examiner could not definitively say what the cause of death was and when Taylor had died, there was a bit of concern if the murder charges would stick, but the accumulated evidence painted a picture of extreme neglect and possible abuse that led to the death of Taylor Williams. Many people believe that starvation was the cause of death, which I could see.
For sure.
Right? Like, she's stealing food. That's pissing her mom off. Her dad, like, months before had seen her looking, like, malnourished,
Like, super thin. For sure.
So I could see it. So in December of 2019, Brianna Williams pled guilty to second-degree murder. Her lawyer argued that she should be given a reduced sentence because of her outstanding military history, but that was overshadowed by her terrible deed. And on September 20th of 2022, she was sentenced to life in prison. During Brianna Williams' sentencing, the judge highlighted the tragic life and neglect Taylor endured, emphasizing that Taylor, in quotes, was not valued from her conception by either her father or mother. He noted that Brianna, the defendant, had struggled with an eating disorder, and Taylor's father had previously complained that Taylor was not being adequately fed. Then goes on to say, in quotes, "You had a duty to provide for your child," underscoring her responsibility as a parent, and that she freaking failed her daughter.
Oh, yeah.
The judge cited several factors behind Williams' life sentence. One key reason was testimony from a psychiatric expert for the defense, who acknowledged that Williams' ongoing psychiatric issues rooted in childhood trauma could cause her to re-offend under certain circumstances. The court concluded that this potential risk, combined with the severe neglect Taylor suffered, warranted the life sentence.
Yeah. Preach, judge. Preach.
Preach. Yeah, no, this case is, it's just really sad. Anytime you talk about children, they're so defenseless,
Yeah, so innocent.
So innocent. Like, their first instinct is to come into this world and to love others and themselves, really, right?
Mm-hmm.
And from such a young age to just not receive that back, and in fact, basically receive the opposite. Like, it just makes me really sad for her and her life. And I don't care what excuse Brianna has. Like, there are many options for you,
Mm-hmm.
if you're not capable yourself, to provide a better life for your child.
For sure.
And
She did not choose any option.
the one thing I will say, and I don't know if it maybe speaks to some inherent good in people, and maybe potentially Brianna, is that she did bury her daughter in the same place as someone she loved deeply.
Or close to.
So in some respect, do I think Brianna completely hated her daughter? No. But do I think she was a terrible mother that didn't know what the fuck she was doing?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Well, I think that's very honorable of you, Bevy, to think of a little bit of a positive there.
I still have disdain for her, Becky.
Of course.
But I am thinking maybe there was some, love for her daughter.
A little flicker?
Like a little flicker of, yeah.
Something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, either way, she definitely got what she deserved. And it's not every day you hear of someone getting a life sentence on a second-degree murder charge.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's really good, because if she happened to pop out another child and wasn't in jail
Mm-hmm.
and did this to another one, the courts, the judges, everyone involved would feel terrible.
Responsible, too,
Yeah.
in some regard, right?
Yeah, capacity for sure.
Well, Becky, that's the case of Taylor Williams. Thanks for listening.
Thanks for sharing.
And just your weekly reminder to download our weekly episodes, follow us on Spotify or Apple Music or whatever streaming platform you listen to us on, and give us a follow on our social medias. You can find us at Luminol on the Wall. Can't wait till next week.